Hi, welcome to the Deep End. Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. You tune in. Has the podcast ever sounded older? You tune in to a show like this. And the first question you have to be asking is, how did the Deep End win the James Beard Award for most professional fantasy football podcast in 2023? You can't believe it. It had to be rigged. The answer, just between us, is simply Adam's killer ragu. But, that's just a secret between us. We will talk about Rashee Rice, some dynasty strategy with the NFL draft 3 weeks away, and we'll try not to get too distracted by whatever the karaoke vibe is behind me here in Orlando. I mean, who parties anywhere like Orlando parties on a Tuesday in April? Mike Shope, Adam Krautwurst, welcome to the Deep End.
Oh, spring break in Orlando. What a life. That is the Deep End. Karaoke, the whole thing. The whole
Some
vibe.
are saying I'm a little old for this.
For what? For
all of it.
Spring break in Orlando?
I'm up there doing, I don't know, Divinals, I think was the group that came up. We did a random spin of songs. And I was halfway through. I touched myself, and I'm like, you know what? I got to go. I got a fantasy football podcast to co-host with Adam Krautwurst. I know you know who he is. So I just jumped off the stage, bruised my knee. But here we are. I'm a little bit red because I'm so young that I don't know what sunscreen is, and I've never gotten into the habit of applying it. So here we are. But
what's the weather down there these days? In Orlando,
right now it is 84 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
What a life.
And you know how you know football season is here, Adam? Because baseball drafts have ended.
Finally,
baseball drafts have ended.
Garrett Crochet. I mean, the guy's pitching a gem tonight against the Braves. Oh,
is he really
looking good?
You're spoiling that. I'm saving that. I'm taping that for later. The White Sox Braves game.
Did you tape? Did you tape it?
It's on a VHS recording. I'm saving that for later. But thanks anyway for spoiling that. So we will talk about a lot of different things tonight. The NFL draft, just over 3.5 weeks away.
Seriously.
Rashee Rice is the big one that's going on right now before we get to the rookies. Kansas City's clear number one wide receiver. They signed Marquise Brown in the offseason. You've heard I'm sure, Adam, the latest on Rice, possible hit and run. Could carry, reading Drew Davenport on this today, could carry up to a felony charge. Drew's opinion was that his guess is anyway not likely to be serious for Rice in 2024, but there's so much we don't know. Are you doing anything about it in best ball or any kind of drafting you're doing? And if you are, what does it mean for Hollywood Brown?
Yeah, I guess if I'm buying the dip on Rice right now for the best ball drafts. You got to tune into a guy like Drew Davenport, who's a lawyer and an attorney, and always is usually pretty right about stuff like this. There's obviously so much we don't know yet, but from what we do know, that's why you're drafting in March and April is to for ADPs and buying dip and all that type of stuff, selling high and all that. So yeah, without knowing more, I in the best ball streets, if he's going to drop significantly, and I don't know what it's been over the last 2 days or so, but I would definitely be buying Rashee Rice and Marquise Brown. He's probably not going up too much yet because they could still draft a receiver too in the NFL draft, especially now with the Rice stuff going on. So I think Marquise Brown probably I would just leave him right where he's at.
Have you liked Rice more or less than consensus so far? I'm a little bit less.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have had plenty of him last year because it was like the sort of the default trigger, the Mahomes receiver, the rookie, and you don't know anybody else necessarily that comes in above him on that team other than Travis Kelce, of course. But I came out of last year thinking like, all right, well, he's in a great situation. The talent is okay, and they could easily come over the top of Rashee Rice this year. Even before, I'm asking about before this incident, his ADP was already, according to Fantasy Mojo, 27 in these drafts, so 303. If that lasted all year, Adam, I wouldn't be getting much Rashee Rice at 303. Part of that is team build, but I'm not really that excited about him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I know last year I did a ton of team preview podcasts with Sean Childs from Full Time Fantasy, and he was big. He had Rashee Rice as a rookie, leading them in receiving. He didn't have having that type of year, but he definitely had him on my radar. So I had more Rashee Rice than I would have other than that. But yeah, in the middle of the third round, I mean, there were so many receivers there that I like better than Rice, especially when you bring in Marquise Brown. I mean, they usually don't. Outside of Tyreek Hill, they haven't really forced it to a receiver. Like they're not really like they like to spread the ball around. So I mean, I would take Olave or even Stephon Diggs going after him in these drafts. Like I would certainly rather have Stephon Diggs over Rashee Rice. So yeah, I mean, best ball is a little bit different, and obviously a lot of this stuff's going to change post draft. But yeah, give me Diggs, give me Tank Dell, give me Deebo Samuel over Rashee Rice, unless he starts slipping into like the fourth, fifth.
Part of the strategy, I think, in the dynasty realm is like, what do teams like the Chiefs, the Bills, even Baltimore, perhaps even Detroit do at the end of round one? Are there 3 receivers gone by pick 28, or is it maybe 5, or is it even more? What does that mean to those teams at the bottom few picks? I think it'll be a very interesting year for watching the end of the first round because of that. And, in Dynasty, and we'll get into, I know a horrific trade you made. I read about it in the trades.
That's right.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But that'll be key, right? Because nobody likes any of the running backs. The quarterbacks, which I know, I hope we talk about, like what to do strategy-wise with the quarterbacks in a one quarterback league in, a rookie draft. You kind of want to know what happens to A.D. Mitchell, what happens to Troy Franklin and Keon Coleman and Javon Baker and Malik Washington and like 5 other guys, equivalently to the running backs or tight ends after Brock Bowers in that range. So I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if you've done any rookie drafts yet. All of mine wait until after the NFL draft is over. But what is the expected sort of breakdown by position in round one of a typical rookie draft in a dynasty league? Is it 9 receivers? Is it less? I mean, it can't be more than 9, can it?
No, I think well, yeah. I think a lot of dynasty now is SuperFlex, so which I think is the way to go for dynasty. But yeah, I think it's probably like 8 or 9 guys. I mean, I'll pull up the dynasty ADP here, but yeah, it's and again, a lot of it has to do with who takes what. Like if the Bills take wide receiver 8 or 9 or something crazy like that, I still think you might have him in the first round because he's attached to Josh Allen. A lot of the dynasty stuff for me is who they're attached to. You know what I mean? Like what quarterback, what offense, what offensive coordinator, stuff like that. Because you don't want some top-notch receiver attached to. I mean, that was a big knock last year. As all these receivers came out, they got drafted, but they got drafted as like the number 2 or the number 3 receiver on their NFL team. And so a lot of people were down on that, But yeah, I think receiver in SuperFlex, we're looking at 4 or 5 of them. Let me show this here. Let's see. So this is SuperFlex. This is Fantasy Mojo. This isn't rookies only, but this is just startups. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at 5 or 6 quarterbacks going in the first round there. But yeah, I think rookie drafts, you're going to probably find 5 or 6 receivers in the first round there. So, I mean, are you trying to move up? Are you trying to move down? What are you trying to do if you need receivers there?
I mean, I don't want to trade out of the top 3 in a one quarterback league, sort of like non-everything. 1 QB, no tight end premium. You got the 3 big receivers there, right? There's no running back anybody cares about, at least pre-NFL draft. I mean, no running back is going in the top 50 picks in this draft, it seems, probably. So I don't feel any reason to trade down in those things. And if you're in the mid-first round, you're going to probably get one of those receivers that land perfectly on one of those teams.
Yeah.
But even if it's like Brian Thomas will be interesting, A.D. Mitchell if they go to like a Denver, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, one of those teams that could go either way at receiver. You got to tell me honestly, my man, you can't hear the karaoke.
Oh, I can hear something. I don't know what the songs are. I don't know what the
All right,
songs
so well that's neither do the singers. Okay, neither does anybody in this crowd back here. Like, so if that karaoke is audible, there's no reason for us to be talking. I mean, it's just I just had my wife and daughter come out here like,
can you hear? How can you?
Like, it's just amazing.
It's unbelievable.
I was at a Sabres game last week, and no offense, Adam.
Sure.
The couple to my right singing the anthems had never heard of the concept of actual notes.
Oh no.
In music, it's just
Terrible.
sort of like they knew the words to say the words in an elongated fashion. Apparently, counts as singing. Notes are not. What even are notes? So if you can now we get tequila going on back here. If you can hear that, we should just talk about the karaoke the rest of the night, or I can move.
Listen,
but if you can't hear it, we can keep our conversation going about Rashee Rice.
I heard karaoke's big at the Expo. At least it has been the last couple of years. But no,
that's when I get the check.
This karaoke is probably better. But you had brought up running backs. Yeah, I think you're right. 7-8 receiver somewhere there. But I think there's some in Dynasty at least. There's some Jonathan Brooks. Like, okay, he had the ACL injury, might not start the year, but in Dynasty, I think he's fine at the end of the first round. Depending again, draft capital is so important with these guys, right? Like if they go to a team that needs a running back, like if Carolina or one of these teams, Arizona, Dallas, yeah, one of these teams that really needs a running back. There's some talent there. I mean, Brooks isn't great, but he's been comped to Travis Etienne and stuff like that. And you've got Trey Benson, who has split time. But again, splitting time isn't the worst thing in the world when what's more important is just draft capital and what team they go to. Great RAS score. So I mean, there's some guys there. I just wonder if this receiving class is so good that's why people are really down on the running backs. What do you think?
I don't think it is. I think you have a lot of pretty good prospects at receiver, but that isn't going to hurt me if I'm wrong. Like with running back, I want my first 30 picks to be concentrated, like 30, not my first 30 picks. I don't have a team that has 30 picks, but like the first 30 picks of a rookie draft to be receivers, a few tight ends, the quarterback, top 4 or so quarterbacks, maybe a couple more. And then everything you want to do after that is running back, because right now 20 of them are pretty much the same. So somebody will go to the right landing spot. Somebody will go to a team that's the wrong landing spot, but there will be an injury and, a bunch of other things will happen. So first couple rounds, bleeding into the third, give me the wide receiver talent that everybody sort of thinks, you have the obvious guys, then everybody else is pretty comparable after that. And then mid-third and back in a rookie draft, just get as many running backs as you can, and you'll end up cutting. We're still in the middle of this turnover at that position. Interesting this year how some of those veterans got their careers prolonged. I mean, you had extensions and new contracts for guys like Derrick Henry and Jacobs and DeAndre Swift and those guys. Maybe even Elliott will happen, but don't force it. Landing spot's overrated. Get your talent early. Most of that is wide receiver, and then get the bulk aisle running backs later on. This is unbelievable behind me, but I hope it's at least passable out there. I want to talk about this trade you keep hinting at, and then what to do about the quarterbacks. We'll talk some ADP, what we're seeing in the early fantasy pros and the best ball drafts. Maybe some sort of clue as to which position in the draft order is best here, still relatively early on in the season. Mike Schopp with Adam Krautwurst in the deep end. Before we do all of that, a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by PlayerProfiler, the Dynasty Deluxe package. The rankings are the best in the industry. It includes strategy mode where you can say, hey, change the rankings to be win now. Oh, change the rankings to be productive struggle. There's also a draft planner to help you strategize where you should take players because the draft planner also includes ADP. There's a trade finder where we look up on My Fantasy League and we see trades that are done, including a particular player. Then there's a trade analyzer where you can plug in draft picks, players, and we assign a lifetime value to draft picks out 5 years. The best thing about our trade analyzer, it can't be gamed with volume. And there's mock draft data to see right now what's the market for player X versus player Y, including in the fall when very few mock drafts are happening. And our Dynasty guide, the Dynasty Dominator, would cost you $10 on Amazon, but you get it for free with Dynasty Deluxe, and you get our rookie guide for free, a $25 value. So you get all of that for $45. So I think it's a great deal.
Oh, yeah. What are you listening to back there? Margaritaville?
What the heck is going on back there?
Margaritaville going on.
All I'm missing this year tonight is the snorkel, clearly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Adam, what about this trade? What did I miss?
Well, I made a couple trades, Mike. I'm in a $750 RotoViz Triflex SuperFlex.
Wait, talk slower. Talk slower. That's very hot.
RotoViz Triflex SuperFlex Dynasty Best Ball.
Wow.
Okay. Won it all last year, naturally.
Good.
Won something. So, anyways, I made a couple trades. I want to see what you think about them. I traded this one in particular. I want to get your Western New York thoughts on it. I traded away James Cook, and I got a 2024 201 and 2024 301.
Love it.
Okay.
Oh, easily.
Okay. I thought so too. I couldn't get more. I was shopping. I thought everyone loved James Cook. I thought everyone loved. I couldn't get any. I couldn't get a late first. But I got a 201 and a 301 for James Cook.
I mean, you're getting wide receiver
right
8.
Yeah, probably
from this draft, and then any running back you want almost for. I feel like James Cook just had his ceiling year.
He did, and he had a great. I mean, I would look. He was like 3rd or 4th in the league in rushing. Like I was like,
4th in the league in rushing.
Yeah,
dropped some passes, caught a few others. Yeah. Damian Harris hurt early in the season, out for the year. Latavius Murray, like it's possible that Buffalo. I mean, Josh Allen ran for 15 touchdowns. I don't want to ignore that. Right. It's possible that they sort of draft one of these running backs and go into the season with Cook and Ty Johnson and a rookie. Doesn't really seem like their style to do that. So I bet there's some other veteran in there cheap, but I don't know. I feel like at Cook, I've been down on him. Like I bet against him last year. I didn't win. I didn't get crushed, but I didn't win.
Me either. Yeah.
At his size, at his talent, last year, that's the best I think he's ever going to do. So I love trading any running back.
I know. I felt the same way. And then so that led to this next trade that I made. Same team. I traded.
Wait. Can I guess?
Sure.
You traded the 201 and the 301 for James Cook. You just like the action. You just sent it all right back.
I had to pay the VIG again, but
yes,
I buyer's remorse, so I had to get James Cook back.
Yes. Can you hear John Denver behind me, by the way? This is
unbelievable. My God.
Unbelievable.
Singing about the Rockies? Is that what he's doing?
Take Me Home, Country Roads. You can't hear this?
What a great song. This is a perfect night for you. Karaoke in the back, fantasy football in your face.
Deep end on the deck.
So let me ask you this. If you were going to, let me ask it in this way. So I traded away Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill. And I got picks in return. What did I get back?
What kind of team is it? A winning team?
It's a compete
champion.
Now, won last year. Yeah.
Why would you do it?
It's live.
You would only have traded. I'll answer your question. You would only have traded Tyreek Hill off a winner if you could have crushed it. So 2 1s.
No. What 106 and 305. I want to get younger.
No.
My idea is 106. I'm going to get Adunza or Neighbor. This is Superflex, remember. Adunza or Neighbors or Bowers. Probably not Bauer. I would rather have Neighbors.
Superflex makes this a lot better.
Yeah, because I'm getting Neighbors or Adunza, and I'm getting them 10 years younger than Tyreek Hill. Is that stupid? Is that terrible?
No, it's fine. I mean, I like if you can justify for yourself, even if you have a winning team, trading equivalent but getting younger. There's still obviously risk involved, but there's risk with everybody. There's risk with even Tyreek Hill. So I'm okay with that. 106 is probably Odunze in a super flex draft.
Yeah.
It depends on what happens with those quarterbacks in the real draft. That remains to be seen. But sure, fine. That's not going to kill you.
Yeah. And I've got a bunch of, and I've got a lot of talent on the roster too. I do have to get a little bit younger. It's who is it? It's Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs were my other receivers. So I had to get a little bit younger somewhere.
Well, Adam Hill of those three is probably the easiest to trade.
Right.
He was. Diggs is the hardest to trade.
Yeah.
And Adams, I've been drafting some Adams in best ball, and I feel like I might be a little bit of a sucker on this because unlike Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs with their size, I guess mostly it's that. I can't picture this is terrible. Like this is fireable. But it's not worse than these performances, by the way. I can't picture Devontae Adams not being really good. It's sort of like a Julio Jones, maybe trap almost, where the body type and even when the Raiders they didn't have the quarterback figured out last year, he was still fine. He wasn't perfect,
right,
as an asset, but I want to keep my Devontae Adams. I don't really think I can move Stephon Diggs. Tyreek Hill, you could go either way on that. Is Tyreek Hill, what is he in a redraft for you? Is he 103? What is Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, he's in there. I mean, I definitely like him over Jamar Chase. I like him over Jefferson now. I mean, yeah, he's probably right there. I mean, it sucks that Jefferson's got like that, doesn't have Kirk Cousins back and all that stuff, man, because
I talked myself back into Jefferson.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you say to yourself?
Well, Darnold, I mean, it's really above all else, it's the head coach. Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to throw it like crazy because that's all he ever has done.
Yeah.
They willingly cut Cousins. Cousins would have come back there if they wanted to pay him and do it, but they didn't want to do that. So it'll be either McCarthy or May, I suppose, possibly Daniels, with some Darnold perhaps sprinkled in. I think that there's volume there. The game late in the season when they had Mullins, Joshua Dobbs, there was value in Jefferson, and he's the best there is.
Yeah. So
the one draft we did a couple of weeks ago, I think we were up and we decided against Jefferson at 5 or 6. I'm done with that. I'm drafting him over Chase. I'm drafting him over Hill. Not Lamb, but Jefferson, I think, is pretty much right now. If I did my own rankings, he'd be 103.
Yeah, Lamb. So you got McCaffrey, Lamb, and then Jefferson. Yeah. Are you off Breece Hall?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Well, that's starting to sort of come into view for me with the running backs with Hall and Robinson. If we start looking at ADPs and you get a feel for every time I get an underdog draft or an FFPC draft where I'm drafting one, I immediately text Adam. Recently, it happened at 2:45. Adam was literally in Moldova, the country of Moldova, where it was way later.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm sorry to bother you with this, but I have the 101 in this $3 underdog draft. You have to know about it.
That's right.
But,
you're the king of the 101.
Superflex, different formats. I don't know. Do you feel like you have a thought yet on what kind of draft order you want in these things?
Yeah, I mean, I like, right now I like the top 6 or so because I just feel like, man, Puka at 109, it's like Kyron Williams at the turn. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I like that. I mean, I like Garrett Wilson. You know how I feel about that, but it's just like, give me Breece Hall, give me Tyreek, Lamb, McCaffrey. Like you said, Jefferson's so good. Bijan, I still have question marks about, with the, are they still have 2 running backs there? How much more is he gonna get? So it's just, can Gibbs hold up under all that? So I like the top 4 or 5 picks for sure. And that's just the top 4 or 5. I don't, that's not even like looking down the road at the 2-3 turn. I know we will get into a lot of that stuff coming up on shows when we're doing drafts and stuff. But, at the 2-3 turn, you're looking at the top, you're looking at Harrison, Devontae Adams. You can get, you can get Nico Collins. I like a lot of those guys, so I like being at the top of the draft.
Well, let's look at rounds 1 and 2,
okay,
if we can, on Mojo, and just see
let's do it.
sort of what that is, because you have some popular running backs toward the 1-2 turn. Somewhat like last year. We have Kyren Williams, Jonathan Taylor down in that range, Barkley, H.A.N. or a couple more as I look at this with you now on fantasymojo.com. By the way, I'm very much Puka over St. Brown.
Interesting. Why?
Well, I won't say younger because that's too easy.
Yeah.
He's not that much younger.
He's not that much younger, right? Yeah.
But love the coach. The quarterback proved last year he's upright. And I don't know, like Cooper Kupp, sure, but the guy was just dominant. And there's no real reason that I know of to think that he wouldn't be next year. That's pretty predictive. For a rookie, he had the best rookie wide receiver season in NFL history.
Yes.
And I don't think it was like sort of underrated or appreciated or anything like that. But
right,
I do not want to bet against him. I think, there tends to be, maybe I can fall into this trap sometimes, but you and I have talked about this. That draft status sticks with you forever, good or bad. So you have guys that have not produced in the NFL, but they were higher picks, and people have a tough time letting go of what they think the value is. And that works both ways, because there are some fantasy players out there probably who think Puka shouldn't be good. And there has to be – how many Ram games did you really watch? Like there has to be some fluke to it. And I don't know. And the Lions have a lot of good players, and they may keep adding to that. They are a team that they don't have a lot of needs. Like they could go receiver, because after St. Brown, depending on what they think of Jamison Williams, I know Laporta and Gibbs, they have a lot of young talent at skill positions, but they could throw Troy Franklin out of that roster or somebody like that. I don't know. St. Brown is excellent. None of this is negative toward him, but I would pick Puka ahead of him unless I feel like, I'm getting ripped off based on ADP or something like that. But what you're showing here at Mojo is they're 8-9. So yes.
Yeah. What does reception perception say about Puka? Do you know like how they? I can go look it up. Like his determining
I don't know. I talked to Matt 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We didn't talk about Puka. I don't remember ever hearing anything negative about him.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So I mean, I like all that. All those guys in there are fine too. It's are you skipping over that running back tier there from 13 to 17? Or Kyren,
yes,
JT, Saquon, Achane just out completely on the whole tier?
Not completely, but I am. Like, I had a couple where I started Garrett Wilson and Nico Collins. I think Adams is good value he's 23, so 211 on here.
Yeah.
London shot up after Cousins, but that's a long time ago now, and I think that's fine. Marvin Harris, who is not even on this page, is a great deal in the third. I mean, where's Neighbors here? There he's picked 40.
Yeah, 40, wide receiver 23. I
mean, he is about as good a prospect as Harrison, if not better.
Yeah.
And he's 16. He's a round and a half later, which logically, if Harrison gets picked first, he goes to a better team. I love that
Yeah.
in the third round. I think he's a steal right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only guy that I really like in that 13 to 17 range is Barkley. Like, I just think that he has, if the narrative of them trying to like keep Hurts from getting beat up, and they actually let Saquon take some of those tush push touchdowns, I think he could be really, really good for the first time in his career in an offense where he's not the focal point, like a really good offensive line, a really good team, a really good smart, a good quarterback with a smart coach. I think he could be really good. But like after that, yeah, no, I like I said, in the third round, a healthy Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, I think is going to be a steal. Diggs reminds me a lot of like where like Keenan Allen was last couple of years, kind of an older, kind of steady receiver that like people they want the next best thing. So that Keenan Allen just is in the third round every year and he just smashes for a per game basis. Now Diggs did have a pretty rough last like 7 or 8 games to the year, but I think if they can add a receiver to that team where he's not carrying the whole load, I think he could move into the slot, do a lot more damage down there. So, but I would probably take Neighbors over him in that range. Yeah, like a lot of these ADPs right now, like you said, are kind of like I like Neighbors over, and Neighbors is a guy that's going to go up as soon as he gets drafted. You know, he's going to go up 5. I mean, wide receiver 23 is too low probably for him.
Yeah, I mean, these running backs, I'm not drafting ETN at all. I will draft Jacobs and Henry. The last time we talked, I made a case about how I don't think the money that they got, these players, Barkley, maybe quintessentially, or Swift, is necessarily that telling of what their role will be, because these teams have that money. This is how you get those players. You can get out of it. I mean, a couple of these contracts are not even potentially even close to what they sound like based on how the team can get out of it. And so if you sign DeAndre Swift, you make a big statement, you want this player. It's how you have to get him. You have to pay him right away. You have to pay him big. You have the cap room. There's no concern there. You can wiggle away from it. Also, no concern there. You have Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert. Those players are not dead. To me, you're going to optimize your offense. It's just on your team. I don't think their usage usually will revolve around how much money they're getting. So in terms of these running backs, I like drafting Achane, but really the receivers in that round 3 block, I mean, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Tank Dell, even Debo, who just turned 28 this year. He'll play this year at age 28.
Yeah,
I'm fine with all that. And Neighbors too. Round 3 is easily, I'm happy at receiver. I want to be in the first half or first 8 picks, usually before, so as not to get left out potentially at that position. And so if I go receiver, running back, receiver, 2 out of 3 there, I think I'm set up to do great. The tight ends are interesting too, but I've told you also there are some good mid-tier tight ends that are interesting, Pitts and Ingram and Njoku. And then at the end of these drafts with Jonnu Smith, Gesicki, Tucker Kraft, different tight ends at the end, I like drafting 2 or 3 late. So 1 somewhere, between rounds 3 and 7, I guess, and then 2 or 3 at the back for me.
The Buffalo Bills have a tight end being taken in the top 5 of fantasy draft. That's got to be the first time ever. I mean, it's so nice to see the Dalton Kincaid.
Well,
they've
never had a tight end in the Pro Bowl.
Really? The K-Gun? The Keith McKellar didn't make the Pro Bowl?
He couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Pete Metzelaars ran negative 4-yard routes. He was Rondale Moore before Rondale Moore. It was his ADOT was negative 80.
Oh,
average depth of target. They would literally run him backwards just to try to get that 1 yard they needed for the first down. So
yes.
No, the Bills in the AFL they did.
Oh,
was that Ernie Warlick? No, I'm not sure. That was Acosta, I think was his name. They had a tight end in the 60s make the AFL All-Star team, but they've never had a tight end in the Pro Bowl. I mean, you have Kelsey, Andrews, like it's tough right now. But
yeah, I was just gonna say it's very different landscape. I'm used to like different pockets of the draft having the top tight. I mean, the fact that we don't have a tight end, Mojo will probably tell me this. When was the last time we didn't have a tight end in the first round of ADP? It's probably been a really long time between Kelsey and Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham, like all those guys for years and years we've had in the first round. But Josh Allen, are you on Allen 2 rounds ahead of the next quarterback going at 21 overall?
I mean, you can make that work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, by the way, I want to say the only thing I care about pertaining to the Pro Bowl is that Bill stat. It's like literally the only thing about the Pro Bowl I can tell you. No, I just, it doesn't feel right, Adam. I mean, there's nothing about Allen that I think is, I mean, is he going to run for 15 touchdowns again? When he was running for 8, I'm like, this has to come down. And it doubled.
Yeah.
But it's just, they tried to run him less and he ran for 15 touchdowns.
I know.
So, no, I'm never drafting him in the second round. It feels like, I feel like such a chump drafting any quarterback in round 2. I mean, I get it and it can work, but the dig stack is with Allen, you can stack all the way through the draft, right? You can, with even all the way to Shakir or Ty Johnson, whatever, like we did expertly in that underdog draft a few weeks back, just pretending to not know how many rounds were in the draft.
That's right. Where it's so coy with everybody watching. But yeah, I do think the Bills are going to draft a receiver too. That's where it gets interesting, like stacking, like drafting now and trying to like stack quarterbacks with receivers that haven't gone there yet. If you can kind of get a beat on who they think. I mean, people, Snowman in the chat says the Bills are drafting receiver after letting Davis go, which is for sure true. Who do you think? Not who do you want them to take, but who is there a word on the street of who the Bills like a receiver?
Let me turn around and just ask the crowd.
Ask the crowd.
Is there a receiver? They don't know.
They
I
don't
have
know.
money that they're drafting defense first.
Oh God.
Because that's what I would do, like trade out and get your receivers on Friday. They don't have a third, which is interesting. But
yeah, they got screwed out.
Javon Baker, you have 10 receivers in round 2, and now they have Curtis Samuel up there. So I don't like Thomas that much or Mitchell that much based on relative lack of production. The yards per route run stats are gross. I feel like if I were a Bills fan, like you are, more like sort of intense about it, I would be afraid that they trade up for one of those guys. I mean, they've done a lot of trading up, and that's the kind of thing where I would tend to bet against that. But they've been pretty good. So I like defensive line with that first pick, safety maybe, and then one of those receivers in round 2. If we switch over to the SuperFlex Fantasy Mojo list here, talking about Josh Allen, who would be the 101 in, on average in those the $35 SuperFlex, never too early SuperFlex tournament drafts.
Yep.
You have, 8 or 9 quarterbacks going in round 1. The guy I like to draft the most is Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
You see him here at 109. I picked him in one I'm currently in at 110. And then I think it was St. Brown in the second round. I like how those builds come together. Then you see Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins in that 3-4 turn range in SuperFlex. And then even like a Drake May or somebody like that later on works. So how about you in this format? Would you rather draft in the top 4? I think in the past you have been this way. Get your quarterback 1, lock it down, or in the bottom 4.
Yeah, I definitely like to have those solid quarterbacks locked up for sure. I'm trying to think of where I picked in the Deep End Invitational last year. I don't remember. I know I won my.
Let me turn around and ask the crowd.
That's right. Ask the crowd.
Where did the crowd respect to the deep? They don't know,
but they know I won it.
They know you won your league.
Won my league. That's right. Not it. But I like. Yeah, I'd much rather have. Burrow would probably be my cutoff for guys that I would really want at quarterback. So I guess anywhere in the first, but I just the thing I love about SuperFlex is you can get Jalen Waddle in the 6th round, Malik Neighbors in the 6th round. Like I love SuperFlex for that reason. But yeah, I think Stroud's going to be awesome. Richardson's going to be awesome. I'm certainly okay with taking Richardson. Are you taking your QB2 regardless SuperFlex or not? Well, okay. So let me ask this. Normally, If you take QB5, right, you're not taking another quarterback unless it's a tournament or best ball or whatever. Would you draft another quarterback if you had Anthony Richardson?
No.
Okay.
I like Kyler Murray a lot, and I've drafted Jordan Love constantly in these one quarterback tournament teams because it's like round 7 or 8, and I just love it. It's so easy. Reed, even Watson, Musgrave, Wicks, Kraft, all of it. And you can just anywhere near a turn, you can get whoever you want. Dobbs, you can get whoever you want from the Packers. You know, if that's your second quarterback, that's fine. But no, I would not. Like I told you, here you have on average, Richardson is going 1-9, and I would not pick my second quarterback in the second round. I think you're getting one of the top 5 wide receivers there easily. You know, tight end premium in this format, you can get top 5 tight end in the third round, top 3, you know, top 6, 7 running back by the 4th pick. You know, you want to like one of these other guys eventually. And as you'll see by this chart, by the time you get past round 4, everybody's pretty iffy. Yeah. But I think May and Daniels are good bets. I think McCarthy is a pretty good bet for the rookies. You have that little bit of a discount because people are afraid of those guys. And that's what I would prefer to do. Like Richardson, Puka, McBride, Jacobs, Tank Dell, Watson is pretty much in line with ADP. Watson could even, there's still a potential for Watson like that I would love a team like that, a start like that.
How many games does Justin Fields start this year?
6.
Okay.
So the first bet is Wilson good? Right now, they have a terrible wide receiver room and Arthur Smith.
Yeah. Well.
And Wilson has had much better receiver rooms, I would say, each of the last 3 years.
Yes.
Than he has right now.
Yep.
So fantasy-wise, like that's not exactly your question, because if they win games, they'll keep him in, right? That's the Steelers.
Right.
But they did bring in Fields. They're going to want to see him. He's the one they can win big with. Wilson, they cannot win big with Russell Wilson. There's no question about that. So you bother with Justin Fields, you've got to get him on the field. And I think they'll, once a month goes by or so into the season, won't they find any excuse they can come up with to play him?
See, I don't know. I think the problem with that situation is that Mike Tomlin is so good. Like they never lose. Like they're always going to be in the playoffs. They're always going to be in the hunt. So I think with Russell Wilson, they're going to be there. They're going to be, I don't know, 6-3 or something. Like, are you going to pull him when you're 6-3? You know, I think they're definitely going to draft a receiver for sure, or 2 or 3. But like you said, the offensive coordinator Arthur Smith is just so bad. I don't know if can Mike Tomlin make up for how bad Arthur Smith is? Like, I don't know. It's going to be ugly there. I think they're going to run the ball a ton, which will keep Russell Wilson from making big mistakes. I think they should start Fields right out of the gate, but they're not going to. I think he's the future there, but the reason why I'm asking is because Justin Fields is going round 6. It's like, you know, I'm not taking Fields anywhere near round 6 if he's playing 8 or 9 games, you know.
No, I agree. I mean, May is around later. I would take May over Fields, but you know, right. If I'm Tomlin, this is a chance. I've been lucky. I've survived these last couple of years where they had mediocre teams. They happen to get into the playoffs. I would want to identify right now as a chance for me to sort of change the script on my team. And so I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I'm benching Russell Wilson at 6-3, but I would bench him at 3-3.
Right.
And you know, if I lose big after that, I've got my answer on Wilson on a 1-year deal. I've got my answer on Fields. I start over.
Yeah.
But, you know, in a perfect world, Fields would have played for the Falcons and Smith last year, which could have been incredible. They win the division in a walk, maybe. I mean, Tampa was 9-8, something like that. And Falcons weren't too much worse, you know, but they had some of the worst quarterback play in the league. So Tomlin has sort of survived this turbulence with the Steelers, and he's got basically it's sort of a fantasy build right now where you take, Wilson's free, Fields is free, you just take them both and you try to make it work. And so Fields, I think, is his better chance to really win than Wilson is.
Yeah, no, I agree there. It's lots of head coaching changes, lots of offensive coordinator changes, and we'll dive into a ton of that in the summer. Maybe probably even before that, because that has so much of an effect. Like you said, Arthur Smith is so bad. Some coaches are so good at getting their guys the ball. So it's really, that is a huge deal. You get a guy like if Derrick Henry is in Tennessee, is anyone even drafting him? No. He was in Baltimore where he's going to fall in for 15 touchdowns based on the coach, based on the offense. So, makes him doable in the third round of fantasy drafts.
Did the show take a turn for the worse when the quote singing stopped behind me? I mean, do you feel like there was a vibe that sort of
the energy? The energy died for
the
sure.
energy did die.
The energy died.
The energy died when the Taylor Swift knockoff and the Sinatra people all just sort of cut it out. I'm not sure if it's halftime or if it's over back there.
It's got to be. What time is it down there? You guys are.
It's 9:20 here in in Central Florida.
That is true. But listen, it's a break. It's a holiday week here. Quick question before we go: is Pickens a buy?
Is he for you? I'm not in love.
I mean, I love Pickens. I think if Fields is decent or Wilson's decent, Wilson wasn't that bad last year. To be honest with you, I think he buy it would. Where's he going? I guess is the question. I'm buying him as a wide receiver.
6.
Yeah, I'm buying him as a wide receiver 3 for sure. 100%. I just think he's too talented, and he's in his first contract. A lot of these young stud receivers, they want that money. They're going to be working hard for it. So, and now he's the guy there.
George Pickens or rookie pick 201, which you have?
Which I have. Pickens.
I'll take the pick.
Of course you will.
What have I ever won? I mean, look at these fingers. I mean, you don't see any rings. You don't see any medals.
When's our dynasty draft coming up?
Player Niagara?
Yeah, when's Niagara?
May 5th.
I haven't heard a thing.
What paper do you get?
I don't know. Where is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm not.
It'll be May. It's always the first Sunday in May, Adam.
Okay. I apologize.
So it's never really a question of when is this draft. It's always the first Sunday.
It's Cinco de Mayo. We're doing a Mexican
Cinco
draft?
de Mayo.
Oh.
Well, Mike Leone won it.
Of course he did.
And he gets to pick where we draft, and he wants golf. 2 years ago, we did golf.
That was a
so I'm working with the golf course to try to firm that down. My other league that I host, the League of Shows and Dreams, Louis G won. And Louis' idea was mini golf.
Ooh.
So that draft is already booked for Adventure Landing in Buffalo in June. It's going to be great. Like arcade games, hole-in-one contest for draft picks,
Oh, that's the best.
You got to do that. If this show has any sort of lasting effect, which I'm sure it will, you want to give your league champion, just like the Masters. This is an idea stolen from the Masters, which only does the menu. They don't change the golf course because John Rahm wants,
Yep.
windmills or something like that. They don't go that far. I would. In our league, I would. But
change the whole thing.
You change the whole thing. But the Masters champion picks the menu for the next year's Champions Dinner. We offer the menu, food, theme, location, any sort of amalgam of those things. I feel like everybody loves it. Just like karaoke tonight back here, which
that's right.
It's a ghost town suddenly behind me. I don't know if it was that bad. Maybe it was.
No, it was good. It was good.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks everybody for watching and or listening. We'd love it if you like the show, helps people find it, subscribe wherever you find your podcast, follow, Twitter, anything. All of that helps us. And tell your mom about our show because, look what she missed. Look what she missed. Come on, I got the Elvis thing going here. I'm about to start singing, but not on camera. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next week in the deep end. Mike and Adam, good night.
See you guys.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.